On the day Zhou Munan broke off our engagement, his friends celebrated. Finally, he's rid of that merchant's daughter. Zhou Munan was pleased. Are you all happy for me? The crowd shook their heads. No, it's because you broke off the engagement that we have a chance. With that, they rushed to my house to propose. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. I was drinking tea in a private room at the Celestial restaurant, with the young maid Lulu sitting beside me, eating snacks and wiping her tears with a handkerchief. Zhou Munan is a heartless man, ungrateful. He just became a provincial graduate and already despises the lady. Why doesn't heaven send a lightning bolt to strike him dead? Lulu cursed everything I wanted to say, so I could only drink my tea in silence. Yesterday, the results of the provincial examination were just announced, and the servant who went to check the list arrived almost at the same time as the letter breaking off the engagement from Zhou Munan. The servant was beaming with joy. Miss, great news, our future master has passed the exam. 86th on the second list, congratulations, miss, finally the clouds have parted to reveal the moon. Passing the exam meant he could become an official, exempting dozens of households from labor duties and exempting taxes on 400 acres of land. Many local gentry would voluntarily send silver, some even bring land, offering themselves as servants. It was a leap to great fortune, no longer comparable to the poor scholars of the past. I had worked hard managing Song's cloth store, supporting Zhou Munan's studies for so many years, and finally, it paid off. I was overjoyed, counting copper coins to reward the maids and servants, when Zhou Munan's mother arrived with the engagement letter. Her face was cold, eyes sharp, nose in the air. Among scholars, farmers, artisans, and merchants, my son is now a provincial graduate. How can a shameless woman like you, who shows her face in public, be worthy? This marriage is off. The silver you gave my son in the past, totaling 78 taels, here, I return 80 taels to you. The extra 2 taels are compensation for the loss of your youth over these 7 years. For shiny silver ingots were thrown onto the muddy ground, along with the bright red engagement letter. Madame Zhou left arrogantly. Lulu was trembling with anger, rushing to pick up the engagement letter. Miss, how can they break off the engagement so easily? Let's go to the government office to sue him. No need. It had just rained the day before, and the engagement letter fell into the mud, instantly soiling the paper. Dirty thing, throw it away. In the vast southern county, only a dozen provincial graduates emerge each year. Exam results directly affect the governor's performance. If I go to sue, who knows if the governor will protect me or Zhou Munan? Citizens do not fight officials, this is the first rule of commerce. Tossing and turning, sleepless all night, by today, I had accepted reality. But the heart was still unsettled. So I closed the shop for a day and came to the Celestial restaurant to drink tea and relax. Suddenly, the adjacent private room became lively, accompanied by a few familiar voices. Congratulations, Zhou! Zhou's literary talent is exceptional. I always said he would surely succeed. Lulu immediately widened her eyes, swallowing the snack in her mouth. Miss, it's the future master, ugh. It's that scoundrel Zhou Munan, why is he here too? Celestial Restaurant is the most famous restaurant in the city, built by the lake, with a stunning and beautiful view. Zhou Munan passing the exam and celebrating here is only natural. I instantly lost interest, about to get up and leave, when my name was suddenly mentioned. 3 great joys in life, meeting an old friend in a distant place, passing the imperial exam, and the wedding night. Since Zhou has passed the exam, the good days with Miss Song must be near. A voice chuckled. Miss Song is extremely beautiful, known as the cloth store beauty. Zhou is truly fortunate. The 2 private rooms were separated by a removable screen, with a curtain drawn. Gossip is human nature, especially when it's about oneself. I tiptoed over, lifted a corner of the curtain, widened my eyes, and looked through the hazy white gauze inside. Zhou Munan gracefully cupped his hands. You all may not know, yesterday, my mother already went to the Song family to break off the engagement. Everyone was shocked. Why is that? A tall figure dressed in blue sat with his back to me, playing with the wine cup in his hand. Upon hearing Zhou Munan's words, he looked up and smiled. A merchant's daughter, not a suitable match. Is Mr. Zhou afraid that Miss Song will hinder his future? As soon as he spoke, I recognized him as Zhou Munan's best friend, Xie Jinan. The Xie family is a prominent clan in Southern County, having produced over a dozen successful metropolitan graduates. Xie Jinan's uncle is the current Deputy Minister of Rights, a fourth-rank official in the capital. Given his status, it's surprising that he befriended Zhou Munan, who holds him in high regard and treats his words like an imperial edict. This time, several of them took the provincial exam together. Zhou Munan passed, and Xie Jinan won first place, becoming the top provincial graduate of the session. Yesterday, servants from the Xie family scattered joy money along a street, carrying 6 large baskets of copper coins. Even though I stayed home all day, I heard about it. Zhou Munan gave him a thumbs up. Indeed, Mr. Xia, born of a noble family, your insight is unmatched. Scholars, farmers, artisans, and merchants, with merchants ranked last. To be honest, if she were a proper young lady from a noble family, no matter how beautiful, how could she be so widely renowned? Song Yurong is always in the public eye, unfit to be a good match. After his words, everyone fell silent. Suddenly, a voice with a raspy tone burst into laughter. Well done, this engagement was rightly broken off. Mr. Zhou is right, Song Yurong, merely a merchant's daughter, how could she be worthy of you? Another young man wearing a golden crown slammed the table, speaking with great excitement. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful, simply wonderful, this is the best news I've heard today. The men at the table exchanged glances and burst into laughter. Zhou Munan felt quite pleased. Moved, he stood up, clutching his wine cup. I didn't expect my friends to be so happy for me. Come, let me toast to all of you. The raspy voice shook his head. I'm straightforward, so I'll speak plainly. Zhou Munan, I'm not happy for you, I'm happy for myself. Turning his face, with delicate features, I remembered him as Chen Feng, whose family is in the tea business with branches in several provincial capitals. A wealthy household in Southern County. Unlike us pure merchants, Chen Feng's brother is a provincial graduate serving as a county magistrate in the neighboring county. And he himself is a scholar. In this session, he withdrew early due to a cold before completing the exam. Judging by his voice, his cold is indeed severe. Zhou Munan was puzzled. Happy for yourself? Mr. Chen, what do you mean? Chen Feng stood up, towering half a head over Zhou Munan. What I mean is... Chen Feng stared at Zhou Munan's face. Now that you've broken off the engagement, I have a chance. I've admired Song Yurong for a long time, Mr. Zhou, you wouldn't mind, would you? Zhou Munan was stunned. His pupils shook, teeth chattered, and the veins on the back of his hand holding the wine cup bulged. He forced himself not to react, while the man with the golden crown was already angrily slamming the table. How outrageous, Chen Feng, a friend's wife is not to be coveted. How can you act like this? Chen Feng replied, what friend's wife? They've broken off the engagement, so they have no ties. You can't do this even after breaking off the engagement. You're a scholar, yet you're eager to snatch right after your good friend breaks off the engagement. What reputation will you have if this gets out? Zhou Munan forced a bitter smile, saying, Thank you, Mr. Jing, for speaking up for me. The man with the golden crown forcefully raised a hand, pushed Zhou Munan aside, and continued glaring at Chen Feng. As a scholar, have some dignity. Unlike me, I'm taking the martial exam route, relying purely on strength, without needing such fame-seeking things. Saying this, he rushed to open the door. Gentlemen, I'm going to propose to the Song family, so I won't be dining with you. I'll be off first. Chen Feng's eyes widened in rage. Jing Shizhe, you little thief, the hatred of stealing a wife is irreconcilable. He followed with a few steps out the door. You won't beat me to it. As the two ran out, the other two followed. One shouting wait for me, the other yelling calm down, a merchant's daughter isn't fit for a scholar. I'm also a merchant, I'm a suitable match for Song Yurong. The lively scene of 6 men at the table quickly dwindled, leaving only Zhou Munan and Xie Jinan. The door swung back and forth, making a creaking sound, like a giant slap on Zhou Munan's face. Zhou Munan's face turned purple, clutching his chest tightly, gritting his teeth. This. He struggled for a while, unable to utter a word, his face turning pale, forcing him to pinch his philtrum desperately. Xia Jinan shook his head. Mr. Zhou, what kind of friends have you made? Zhou Munan's eyes turned bloodshot, crying in anger. How outrageous, I treated them as friends, yet they betrayed me like this. Each one driven by lust, vile, despicable, lowly. No wonder they kept urging me to bring Song Yurong out to play, they had their eyes on her all along. Zhou Munan paced back and forth in the room, angrily clutching his chest. Mr. Xia, thankfully there's you, you're different from them. From today on, you're my only friend. Xia Jinan first nodded, then shook his head. I'm indeed different from them. They, as your friends, covet a friend's wife, heartless and unjust, truly shouldn't. Unlike me. Xia Jinan suddenly turned around, his gaze sharp, staring firmly at me through the curtain. I approached you, from start to finish, all for Song Yurong. I gasped, instinctively letting go of the cloth curtain and stepping back in a panic. Lulu covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes darting back and forth between me and Xia Jinan through the curtain. She lowered her voice to speak in a whisper. Miss. He. What are you giggling about? I didn't expect even Mr. Xia to like you. Indeed, everyone is normal, except Zhou Munan, who is blind. Seeing Zhou Munan's expression makes me happy, he, lol. Her laughter grew louder and louder. Worried that the neighbors might hear, I hurriedly covered her mouth and pulled her outside. My mind was a tangled mess. I never expected today's scene to unfold. I've met Zhou Munan's friends before. Last year during the flower festival, Zhou Munan invited me for an outing. I dressed up carefully, only to find upon arriving at the foot of mountain that he wasn't alone. I felt uncomfortable immediately. Though society is more open now than before, it's still limited to engaged couples being able to go out and have fun without others gossiping. Running a shop like I do, with many customers coming and going, Zhou Munan's mother has long had words against me, often subtly reminding me to adhere to the virtues of a woman and not to act ostentatiously. If she finds out about today's events, she'll likely come to my house to make a scene. Zhou Munan, I'm not feeling well today. You all have fun, I'll head back first. I turned to leave, but a tall, fair-faced scholar suddenly reached out to block my way. His demeanor polite and his smile exceedingly gentle. Miss Song, Mr. Zhou is busy with his studies, it's rare for you two to meet. We're the ones being inconsiderate. If anyone should leave, it should be us. The peach blossoms on the mountain are in full bloom, Mississippi don't waste this beautiful spring day. Zhou Munan introduced him to me as Chen Feng, his classmate. These scholars were all courteous and polite, and Zhou Munan insisted that if I left, it would be disrespectful to him. I could only reluctantly stay and spend half a day with them on the mountain. I listened to them recite poetry and watched them drink and play music. Jing Shizhe was tall and broad-shouldered, and I heard his ancestors were generals. He got caught up in the moment and started performing sword dances under the peach trees. His movements graceful like a startled swan. Chen Feng was not to be outdone, playing the zither in accompaniment, while two other scholars loudly recited poetry. Lulu watched intently. Mr. Zhou's classmates are all so talented, really impressive. When men are together, do they always have to showcase their talents like this? No wonder Mr. Zhou often says socializing is stressful. Suddenly, a light laugh came from behind. Xia Jinan, carrying a white jade wine pot, walked over to me, leisurely sat down, and poured me a cup of wine. They're not showcasing their talents. I blushed slightly. Mr. Xia, I don't drink alcohol. I know, this is strained pear syrup. I was taken aback. How did he know that I love strained pear syrup the most? Lulu couldn't wait to ask him, if not showcasing talents, then what? Xia Jinan glanced at me sideways. They're like peacocks displaying their feathers. I looked around and smiled knowingly. During the flower festival, women go out for spring outings and also take the opportunity to look for potential husbands. With so many tourists on the mountain, these single men must be trying their best to catch the eye of a lady. Only then did I realize the profound meaning behind Xia Jinan's smile. Today's events lifted Lulu's spirits from the gloom of the past 2 days. She was beaming with excitement, pacing back and forth in the courtyard, repeatedly saying, "Why haven't they come yet? Didn't they say they would come to propose? Chen Feng is gentle and wealthy, Jing Shizhe is strong and has a promising future. I really don't know whom to choose. Oh, it's so troublesome. Oh no, there's also Mr. Xia. Although they are good, they don't quite compare to Mr. Xia. Miss, do you think Mr. Xia will come to propose? She was talking to herself loudly, and my mother heard her from inside the room and started coughing loudly. Cough, cough, your own, come here. My mother's leg was crippled by a carriage accident, unable to straighten her left leg. When she walked, her left leg would tremble in the air, drawing a half circle. Children would see this and follow her, clapping for fun. Lame lady, draw another one, draw a full circle. My mother felt ashamed and refused to go out, spending most of the day sitting on the bed. She caught a cold in the past few days and wasn't in good shape. The other day, Zhou Munan's mother came to call off the engagement, and I kept it from her, not daring to let her know. Hearing Lulu talk about a proposal, her eyes lit up. Is Zhou Munan coming to propose? When is the wedding set? You're already 20 years old. Ordinary girls marry at 15 or 16. I've held you back for so many years, and finally, someone can take care of you. Don't worry, once you're married, I can take care of myself. I've already asked Carpenter Zhao to make a walking stick. From now on, my son-in-law will be a provincial graduate, an official. Let's see who dares to laugh at me. My mother rambled on, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes relaxed, looking extremely happy. I didn't know how to start speaking. My marriage to Zhou Munan was arranged by my mother herself. My father died early, and my mother managed Song's cloth store alone, raising me. She was beautiful and often faced gossip, so she wouldn't let me go to the shop, only allowing me to embroider and cook at home every day. It was a rainy day. I made dinner as usual, waiting and waiting, but my mother never returned. I went out with an umbrella to look for her, and outside the alley, I saw a young man, without an umbrella, running breathlessly, full of anxiety. Seeing me, he paused for a few seconds and asked, "Are you the daughter of Madame Song from Song's cloth store?" That was my first encounter with Zhou Munan. My mother was knocked down by a speeding carriage, and Zhou Munan carried her to the clinic, even paying for the medicine. He rushed to our house to inform me, and I was so scared, crying while running behind him. My mother's leg was injured, and she couldn't go to the shop anymore. The medicine cost a lot, and the shop couldn't just close down. From that day on, I took over the shop. The private school Zhou Munan attended was not far from our cloth store. In the evenings, after closing the shop, he worried about me walking home alone and would quietly follow me. He was only 14 at the time, just a half-grown boy. If we encountered any ruffians, he wouldn't be much help. But for some reason, hearing his footsteps gave me a great sense of security. From the cloth store to my house, I had to pass through 3 main streets and 2 long dark alleys. At the alley entrance was Madame Sue's house. If she was home, she would hang a lantern at the door, and I wouldn't be afraid at all. Sometimes she went out to play and didn't hang the lantern, making the whole alley pitch dark, with unknown lurking dangers. My scalp tingled, and I dared not take a step forward. Zhou Munan would come up and pretend to greet me. "Song Yurong, you're here too, what a coincidence. This alley is so dark, I'm a bit scared. Can you follow behind me to give me some courage?" I breathed a sigh of relief, nodded, and closely followed Zhou Munan. In the deep, narrow alley, my heartbeat was deafening. Later, when Zhou Munan's mother came to propose, my mother agreed without a moment's hesitation. My mother said, "Zhou Munan is kind-hearted and can be entrusted for life." But later, what changed? The young man who once quietly followed behind me, after entering the academy, learned to drink and make merry with his classmates, chatting in the restaurant until late at night. He said, "I'm having fun with my friends, Song Yurong, you should go back by yourself." He forgot that tonight Madame Sue didn't light the lamp, and I'm most afraid of the dark. He said, the future father-in-law of his classmate is the provincial education commissioner, and they still have to painstakingly study the preferences of the officials. While others have already won at the starting line, how enviable. He didn't remember, on the day of our engagement, he said, "Song Yurong, with you, I won't envy anyone." His attitude towards me grew increasingly impatient, always saying, "You're just a merchant's daughter, what do you know?" On the day his classmate got married, he was drunk and came to my house, pointing to the azure sky above. Song Yurong, if I had a powerful in-law, I could ride the wind and rise to the clouds too. The autumn wind was bleak, making me squint my eyes. Zhou Munan's face blurred in my vision. I thought, maybe we won't make it to the end. The young man who accompanied me through the night has his own difficult path to walk. He wants to leverage power, to live a little easier. It's human nature, nothing to blame. Neither of us can give what the other wants, so we can only part ways, each going our own direction. I lowered my eyes and held my mother's hand. Mom, Zhou Munan has already broken off the engagement with me. My mother's smile froze, and for a long while, she didn't speak again. The air in the room seemed to stagnate. Lulu thumped to her knees in front of my mother. Madam, don't worry. Even though Zhou Munan is gone, there are other good men. She counted on her fingers, listing them like treasures. Chen Feng, Jing Shizhe, and Xie Jinan, they all said they want to marry Mississippi. My mother didn't believe it. Aren't these all Zhou Munan's friends? Yurong was engaged to Zhou Munan, do they not mind? Lulu raised her hand and swore, recounting today's events. Madam, believe me, I'm not lying. I let Lulu stand up. It's not about who comes to propose. My mother is stubborn, and Zhou Munan saved her life. She favors Zhou Munan. Now the Zhou family has broken off the engagement, she must be very sad. Afraid it might trigger her illness, I need to call the doctor in advance. I carefully observed her expression. Mother sat on the bed. Her face uncertain, eyes hollow, staring ahead, looking like she might collapse at any moment. I felt both guilty and heartbroken, walked over and held her hand. Mom. Unexpectedly, my mother shook off my hand and suddenly bounced up from the bed. Great! Saying so, she landed on one foot and jumped a few times, the other foot bent in the air. Using her right foot as the center, her whole body spun in a circle. Great! Lulu was shocked. It's bad, Madam has gone mad. My mother laughed heartily, laughed for a while, then sat back on the bed holding her chest in our terrified gaze. Yurong, pour me a glass of wine, I want to celebrate. Mom, don't scare me, what's wrong with you? My mother's smile never faded. She said she regretted it long ago. Especially when she saw Zhou Munan's classmates, the regret reached its peak. Each one is more outstanding than Zhou Munan, with better family background. And each one looks at me with unclear intentions. I didn't expect you to grow up so beautiful. You're capable too, managing the shop so well, earning so much money. You are stubborn, just because of Zhou Munan's kindness to me, you were locked in. You don't know, over the years many people have come to me openly and secretly to propose to you. Yurong, you should have better choices, all delayed by that Zhou Munan. The progress of things was completely different from what I thought. I was silent. But Mom, even Zhou Munan dislikes me for being a merchant's daughter, wouldn't others mind? My mother, bah. What does he know? He himself is incompetent, that's why he cares about our family background. Truly capable people don't need to seek external help. With your looks, you could even become a consort in the imperial palace. My mother's personality seems different from what I thought. My mind was a bit confused. Lulu happily poured wine for my mother. The two drank with a few small dishes, cup after cup, until noon. Chen Feng came. He came, bringing a carriage full of gifts. Seeing my mother, he bowed deeply. Madam Song, I'm straightforward, I'll speak directly. I admire Song Yurong, I wonder if I have the fortune to marry her. If you agree, I'll have my father bring the official matchmaker tomorrow, with the 3 letters and 6 etiquettes, a proper marriage. If you disagree, just treat it as a junior visiting. Today's matter will definitely not be spread, affecting Miss Song's reputation. He asked my mother, but his eyes were burning, staring at me. My mother was holding Lulu's arm, lost in thought. Suddenly, someone barged in from outside. Zhou Munan reached out to adjust his hat, his fair face flushed red. Well, Chen Feng, you really came? Chen Feng snorted coldly. A man unmarried, a woman unwed, I openly seek a proposal, why can't I come? Zhou Munan ignored him, staring straight at me, trembling as he pointed at my nose. Song Yurong, after 7 years of relationship, today I want the truth from you. When did you start associating with him? Standing in the sunlight, I felt cold all over, only sensing Zhou Munan's face as strangely terrifying. Before I could curse, Chen Feng had already jumped up and slapped Zhou Munan. Bah! Don't insult people. Miss Song is steadfast and true, it's you who doesn't know how to cherish. To tell you the truth, I fell for Song Yurong, thanks to your matchmaking. That day at Celestial Restaurant, it was originally Zhou Munan celebrating my birthday. Inviting me alone for a meal, specifically instructing me not to bring Lulu. But downstairs, we ran into Chen Feng, and one called another, gathering a table of people. As we drank, it got dark, and I wanted to leave early. But Zhou Munan kept stalling, saying to wait a bit longer, wait for a stick of incense. I really couldn't wait, and Zhou Munan turned cold, saying he was in high spirits and told me to leave first. The autumn night was cold with heavy dew. And the shops on both sides of the street had already extinguished their lights, doors tightly shut. I lowered my head, walking quickly on the road alone, and suddenly heard another set of footsteps. Turning my head, a shadow quickly darted to the side. Someone was following me. Terrified, I lifted my skirt and ran, reaching the familiar dark alley entrance, and Madame Sue indeed hadn't lit a lamp. This long, pitch-black alley, if someone followed. The footsteps behind grew closer, and I even heard the rough teasing voice. Beauty, wait for me. Frightened, I was about to run when suddenly a hand reached out beside me, firmly grasping my arm. I screamed, struggling desperately, and the person chuckled bitterly, holding me and soothing me softly. Song Yurong, it's me, I'm Chen Feng. Chen Feng? Panicked, I looked up, seeing his clear and handsome features. And immediately breathed a sigh of relief, my legs going weak, one hand resting on his chest. Chen Feng was tall, under the hazy moonlight, I saw his Adam's apple move. He gently patted my back in reassurance. It's so late, I was worried about you going back alone, followed to check, and indeed guessed right. Saying this, he glared behind, scolding sharply. You scoundrel! What do you want? If you don't leave, when my family servants catch up, they'll beat you to death with sticks. I hid in his embrace, gathering courage to look back, indeed seeing a burly man, cheeks flushed, reeking of alcohol. Initially seeing Chen Feng as weak, he hesitated and watched. But hearing about the servants, he immediately showed retreat. Crazy, I was just passing by, is the road owned by your family? After scaring away the drunkard, Chen Feng escorted me home. He seemed to say a lot, but at that time, my heart was half filled with lingering fear. Half with resentment towards Zhou Munan, not paying attention to him at all. Chen Feng placed a hand on his chest, his face showing a look of reminiscence and longing. After that night, the face of Miss Song lingered in my mind, unable to be dispelled for a long time. Zhou Munan's eyes rolled with dense fog, then suddenly he laughed with ease. I thought it was something serious, turns out you just have a one-sided love. Chen Feng, we've been friends for so many years, haven't you figured it out yet? Even if I break off the engagement with Song Yurong, her heart is still only for me. Not just her mother also believes I am the rightful son-in-law of the Song family and would never agree to your proposal. Saying this, he walked over to my mother and naturally sat on the stone bench beside her. Madame Song, the recent breaking of the engagement was actually a misunderstanding. My mother's intention was not to break the engagement. I have just passed the provincial exam and am preparing for next year's spring imperial exam. Getting married now would affect my studies. I told her to wait another year, until next spring when I make the honor roll and become a metropolitan graduate. Then I'll marry Yurong with great pomp and ceremony. Wouldn't that be grand? I couldn't help but want to laugh. Even at this point, Zhou Munan still refuses to openly promise me a marriage. He started disdaining my merchant girl status as soon as he became a provincial graduate. If he truly becomes a metropolitan graduate, how could he possibly have any place for me in his eyes? Saying these things is just because he can't stand the thought of me marrying someone else. I asked him coldly, Zhou Munan, what if you don't pass the imperial exam? Hearing my tone, Zhou Munan thought I agreed, his expression relaxed, and he happily walked over to hold my hand. Yurong, don't you know my talent? I will definitely pass this exam. Chen Feng became anxious. You evil git. If you don't pass, are you going to make Miss Song wait another 3 years? Zhou Munan, What's wrong with waiting 3 years? Chin Feng, nonsense. Miss Song is already 21 this year. 3 years and another 3 years, wouldn't that just waste her youth? Miss Song, don't believe his nonsense. Zhou Munan raised his chin proudly. That's between her and me. She said, no matter how many years, she would wait for me. Zhou Munan was already a scholar at 14, failed the provincial exam the first time. And at 17, he tried again with great ambition, but still failed. I went to give him money, and he was full of shame, his eyes reddened. If I fail again, Yurong, I have no face to spend your money anymore. I shook my head, stuffing the silver ingot into his hand. Munan, your talent is outstanding, you will have your day. 3 years and another 3 years, no matter how many years, as long as you want to study, I will always support you. Zhou Munan gripped my hand tightly. I won't let you down, Yurong. I promised to pass the provincial exam, and I did, didn't I? Believe me, I will definitely pass the imperial exam too. Chin Feng stared at our clasped hands, his teeth nearly grinding to dust. He rushed to my mother's side, shaking her shoulders. Madam Song, Zhou Munan is not a good man, you can't agree to him. Zhou Munan sneered. You don't understand the matters between us, Madam Song she. Before he could finish, my mother suddenly swung her arm and slapped him hard. Bah! Are we that familiar? Everyone was stunned by this sudden turn of events. Zhou Munan stood dumbfounded, covering his face, full of disbelief. Madam Song, you said you treated me like a son, you. My mother proudly stood up, supporting herself on the table. I treat whoever my daughter likes as a son. Now that you've broken the engagement, you have nothing to do with my family. I actually think he's quite good, called Chin Feng, right? Feng, come over and let me take a good look at you. My mother held Chin Feng's hand. Chin Feng seemed as if he had been hit by a pie falling from the sky. His face full of surprise and happiness that felt unreal. Mother, no, madam, have you agreed to my marriage with Song Yurong? Zhou Munan was incredulous. Impossible, you. He looked around and saw the pile of gifts, stomping his foot in anger. I knew it, indeed a merchant family, so shallow. You only care that the Chin family has money. Do you know that Chin Feng didn't pass the provincial exam this time? He's just a scholar. I am a distinguished provincial graduate with a bright future, how can he compare to me? Chin Feng's face instantly turned red. Bah, I was unfortunately caught by a cold and had to withdraw early, otherwise would I be worse than you? A cold? My mother looked wary and withdrew her hand. Child, are you not in good health? Yes, he's not well, madam, look at me. The door was slammed open, and a figure in black flipped 7 or 8 somersaults from the doorway to the osmanthus tree, landing steadily in front of my mother. Jing Shirzai clasped his hands, with thick eyebrows and sharp eyes, smiling at my mother. This year's martial arts provincial graduate, Jing Shirzai, here to propose, asking you to marry Song Yurong to me. My mother's eyes lit up, clapping her hands involuntarily. Good, those somersaults were impressive. A martial arts provincial graduate? Oh my, look at that physique, that energy, he looks very healthy. She said, circling Jing Shirzai, not even missing his back, hips, and legs. This movement exposed my mother's limp leg. Chin Feng was somewhat surprised. Madam Song, is your leg injured? My father is friends with Dr. Chin from Peace Clinic, I can have him come and take a look. My mother stood on tiptoe with her left foot, smiling calmly. No, I'm a cripple, I was hit by a carriage before and it has been like this since, the bone is shorter, it won't heal. Do you mind? Chin Feng shook his head vigorously. Don't mind, it doesn't matter. Jing Shirzai was full of excitement. It's fate! My father is also a cripple, injured in battle, he has many fine canes, I can bring them for you to use. He said, blushing slightly, staring at me. My father limps on the right leg, your mother on the left, Song Yurong, aren't we a perfect match? This. I tried hard to press my lips together but couldn't help but let out a laugh. Jing Shirzai is just like that, straightforward and cheerful, often saying surprising things. Once at the mountain villa outside the city, Zhou Munan, to show off in front of friends. deliberately bossed me around with a fierce tone. I held back and didn't react, later squatting by the river to wipe my tears. Chin Feng comforted me, picking some wildflowers to show me. Jing Shirzai came over. "Miss Song, don't be sad, I'll show you a flower too." Chin Feng looked smug. "I've picked the best flowers around here, what flower do you have?" Jing Shirzai rolled up his sleeves. "I'll go beat Zhou Munan until his butt blooms," he said, and indeed rushed over, kicking Zhou Munan's butt directly. Chin Feng laughed heartily. This brute! After laughing, he felt something was wrong, immediately becoming righteous. This brute, how can he hit people casually? I'll go persuade them. Miss Song, be careful. Thinking of past events, I couldn't suppress my curved lips. Jing Shirzai scratched his head foolishly. "Song Yurong, you look beautiful when you smile." Chin Feng immediately squeezed over. "You're beautiful even when not smiling." Jing Shirzai, "What, you don't want to see Miss Song happy?" Chin Feng, "You insidious brute, that's not what I meant." The two of them exchanged words like fighting cocks. While my mother laughed heartily beside them, continuously asking Lulu to pour tea and invite them to sit. No one paid attention to Zhou Munan, who left angrily with a dark face and a flick of his sleeve. I really didn't know how to interact with these two people. So I found an excuse and said I wanted to go back to my room to sleep. I lay in bed for half a day until the courtyard gradually quieted down. I propped up the window, and there was a full moon hanging on the treetop. The moonlight was bright and clean, and the blue bricks in the courtyard seemed to have a layer of silver frost. My mother was still sitting under the osmanthus tree, bickering with Lulu. My mother said she liked Jing Shirzai, that child seemed honest at first glance, could make people happy. And being with him every day would feel good. Lulu said Chin Feng was better, considerate and gentle, patient and thorough. And being with him every day would feel safe. My mother said Jing Shirzai was in good health. You young people don't understand. That back and that waist, the kind that will enjoy blessings in the future. Lulu said he was just a brute, good when happy, but what if he's unhappy and hits you? With such a strong build, one punch and the miss would be dead. Chin Feng was better, gentle and soft, even if a fight really broke out. She could protect the miss and fight back. The two argued for a while and finally concluded that either was better than Zhou Munan. My mother sighed deeply. Back then, I went out with a lame leg to deliver snacks to Zhou Munan at the academy and was ridiculed by his classmates. Zhou Munan didn't say anything, but from that day on, he didn't come to our house for a whole month. And I knew he was upset that I embarrassed him. When he's unhappy, Yurong's mood is bad too, and as her mother, seeing this is really unpleasant. Lulu exclaimed. "Ah, so it's because of Zhou Munan that Madam doesn't go out. Miss thought it was because you were depressed, often asking me to persuade you more." My mother shook her head. "I'm a widow, able to do business and open a shop, raising Yurong to this size. If I were so sensitive and fragile, I wouldn't be alive by now." My heart felt a pang. It turns out this relationship wasn't just me suffering grievances, my mother was also feeling hurt. I thought my mother liked Zhou Munan, so even if I suffered a bit, as long as she was happy, it was fine. But my mother thought I was madly in love with Zhou Munan, so she confined herself. Not going out all day, not wanting to embarrass Zhou Munan. We were both clearly doing it for each other. Yet neither of us spoke, only blindly guessing each other's thoughts, muddling through all these years. Knowing my mother's thoughts, the last bit of resentment in my heart instantly disappeared. Lulu sighed. "Ah, I wonder who the miss truly likes in her heart. Who do I like?" At that moment, a cold jade-like face suddenly flashed before my eyes. I was startled and shut the window with a bang. Having just called off the marriage, I wasn't in the mood to think about these things. Chin Feng seemed to be competing with Jing Shirzai. The two of them came to my house whenever they had free time. One wielding a sword and the other telling jokes, making my mother very happy. I didn't know how to face them, and didn't dare stay at home. So I went to the shop for a few days, feeling restless, even messing up the abacus. Two mischievous kids passed by the door, talking loudly. "All the lotus flowers at East Lake have bloomed, the lotus seeds are so sweet, want to buy one to eat?" I heard it and felt a stir in my heart. I love lotus flowers and also love eating lotus seeds. When I was young, my mother and I didn't actually live in Southern County. My father was from the Northwest, and my mother married over, not used to the wind and sand here. She often held me, softly singing. In Southern, you can pick lotus, the lotus leaves are so lush, fish play among the lotus leaves. Fish play among the lotus leaves in the East. I had never seen lotus leaves, nor could I imagine what a lotus flower larger than a bowl looked like, always longing for it. Later, my father passed away, the ancestral land was seized by several uncles. My mother had no way to live, so she took me all the way south, back to Southern, and opened this cloth shop. That year, I was 7 years old when I first saw lotus flowers as big as bowls. I squatted on the bluestone steps by the lake, staring dumbfounded at the endless lotus leaves, my mouth forming a round shape. A little boy came down from a boat and sat next to me. "What are you looking at?" I pointed to the center of the lake. "What is that round green thing?" "It's a lotus seed pod. Peel it open, and there are lotus seeds inside that you can eat. Someone is selling them nearby, 2 coins each, very refreshing and sweet." My face turned red, and a bit of drool hung from the corner of my mouth. 2 coins? They look strange, so they must taste bad. I don't want them. At that time, my mother was struggling to make ends meet, and my skirt was patched. There was no money to buy snacks. The little boy tilted his head and smiled. "Wait here." He ran back to the boat, and when he returned, he had a large bunch of lotus flowers in his left hand, and a big handful of lotus seed pods in his right. His fair and delicate face was framed by the red and green, and the smile in his eyes sparkled like stars, leaving me dumbfounded. "Do me a favor. I have so many left over from selling today, and if my father finds out, he'll definitely scold me. If you take them away for me, he won't find out, okay?" I nodded foolishly, taking the lotus flowers in my left hand and the lotus seed pods in my right, holding them tightly to my chest, completely full. "What's your name?" "Nan, the carriage is leaving, hurry over." I stood there dumbstruck. Nan? Zhou Munan shares the similar name. Although they are not the same person, because of this name. Whenever I see Zhou Munan, I can't help but think of him. He was the first kindness I felt when I came to Southern County. He must be a very gentle person. Obviously, he spent his own money to buy the flowers, yet he made up a lie, saying he needed my help. Just like Zhou Munan, clearly it was me who was afraid of the dark. But he said, "Song Yurong, I'm a bit scared, can you walk with me?" So my heart moved, and I fell. Only to realize that all the brilliant and radiant images were merely products of my imagination. I followed 2 little boys to the lakeside. August had already ushered in early autumn, yet the lotus flowers at East Lake were still blooming brightly, with their white petals appearing elegant and their red ones vibrant, dazzling but not gaudy, accompanied by a gentle breeze carrying a hint of floral fragrance. The water surface shimmered with light, a rare sight, as there wasn't a single boat in sight. I waited for quite a while before a black-roofed boat leisurely approached the shore. I lifted my skirt and eagerly jumped aboard. "Boatman, please take me to the center of the lake, where the lotus flowers are in full bloom." The boatman, wearing a straw hat, sat at the bow and responded with a faint "hmm." A boat ride on East Lake cost 30 copper coins for half an hour. And for an additional 20 coins, one could enjoy tea and snacks. I counted 50 copper coins and placed them on the table, curiously asking, "East Lake is usually bustling with boats, why is it just you today? Where are the other boats?" The boatman chuckled lightly and paddled the oars. "Today is the first day of the month, East Lake is closed to boats." His clear and gentle voice sounded somewhat familiar for some reason. I exclaimed in realization, remembering that on the first day of each month, East Lake prohibited boats from entering, claiming it was to protect the lake's ecosystem and give the fish and shrimp inside a day of rest. "Then sorry, did I misunderstand, aren't you a tour boat?" "No worries." The wooden oars broke through the waves. The boat swayed, and slowly reached the center of the lake, weaving into the dense lotus flower clusters. The boatman put down the oarboard and picked up a fishing rod from the side. Curious, I leaned over to take a look. "Boatman, why is your fish hook straight?" "A curved hook is sharp, it might hurt the silly fish. But without a hook to hang the bait, how will the fish take the bait?" "It will bite and then run away." The boatman took off his straw hat and looked at me helplessly. "Indeed, what do you think I should do?" Xia Jinan? I was momentarily lost, feeling inexplicably flustered. Uncomfortably, I shifted back into the cabin. Xia Jinan set up the fishing rod, adjusted his robe, and entered the cabin, sitting opposite me. I've been troubled these past few days. Xia Jinan was tall, and the cabin was narrow, his long legs almost touched my knees. He sat too close, enveloping me in a faint scent of cold pine, leaving me dizzy and unsure of how to respond. What is troubling Mr. Xia? Fishing? Xia Jinan nodded. Yes, I've had my eye on a fish for a long time, but she's in someone else's pond. If I try to take her, she might get upset, and if I try to snatch her, I fear hurting her feelings. It was hard enough for that person to act foolishly and release her back to the sea. Yet now many people are rushing to bait her. In the commotion, if I join in, I fear it will only annoy her. But if I don't go, I fear someone else might catch her. The boat swayed with the current. Xia Jinan's knee gently brushed against my leg, causing a tickling sensation. I usually act freely, but with her, I'm afraid of hurting her if I'm too forceful. And afraid of upsetting her if I'm too gentle. I ponder over countless strategies but find nowhere to apply them. I ask Miss Song to teach me, what should I do? I dared not look up. My heart raced, blood surged through my body, my cheeks flushed red, and I fidgeted with my skirt, at a loss. What was Xia Jinan saying? Was the fish he mentioned me? How was I supposed to respond to that? I chose to avoid the subject. Since he talked about fishing, I would only talk about fishing. If the fish isn't biting, perhaps Mr. Xia's bait isn't attractive enough. Oh. Then I must ask Miss Song to help me figure out what bait to use to win her favor. She came today for the lotus flowers, how about them? I raised my head in confusion. Lotus flowers? Xia Jinan led me to the stern, which was covered with a tall tarp. I had noticed it when I boarded the boat but didn't know what it was. Xia Jinan reached out and pulled back the tarp. A large pile of vibrant red and emerald green burst into view. On the left were lotus flowers, on the right were lotus pods, piled high on the boat. It felt like a thunderstorm had struck in my mind. Nan, Jinan? Is it you, Nan? Just at that moment, the boat suddenly shook again, and I stumbled, falling into Xia Jinan's arms. Xia Jinan caught me in shock. After a long pause, the corners of his mouth slowly curved into a smile. Yes, it's me. His hands tightened around my waist. I blushed and tried to push him away, but my body didn't seem to follow my mind's command, so I let him hold me. I went to the edge of East Lake every day waiting for you. Why did you never show up again? That day, I left Southern County and stayed at my grandmother's house in the capital for a few years. I didn't return to Southern County until I was 14 to take the provincial exam. I stared at him blankly. Oh. As I made this sound, my mouth naturally puckered slightly. I gazed at Xia Jinan, and naturally, I could see his eyes moving back and forth between mine and my lips. Our gazes intertwined, and we unconsciously leaned closer. My heart was pounding like a drum, and I awkwardly looked away. Suddenly, a silver light leaped out from the water at the bow of the boat. Xia Jinan, I think your fish is hooked. Blushing, I pushed him away, ran to the bow, and lifted the fishing rod to see the empty hook swaying in the wind. Oh no, still nothing. Xia Jinan laughed gently. No worries. It's already hooked. Xia Jinan and I chatted on the boat all afternoon until the lights came on, and we reluctantly returned. During dinner, Lulu suspiciously stared at my face. Miss, was business good at the shop today? Huh? No, not many people. Then why are you smiling so happily, like you found silver? I'm not smiling, eat your food. At night, alone with my pillow, I tossed and turned in bed, feeling a bubbling sensation in my heart, sweet and sour. Closing my eyes, all I saw was Xia Jinan's face. Lulu leaned at the door. Miss is possessed. My mother shook her head. In love. I'll bet 30 coins on Jing Shirzai. Lulu, even the madam is only betting that much. I'll bet 32 coins on Chenfeng. The truth was revealed the next day. When Chenfeng and Jing Shirzai came again, I very clearly rejected them both. My mother and Lulu's faces changed dramatically. Neither of them? Could it be Zhou Munan? You wrong, don't be foolish. It's definitely not him. Oh, stop bothering me. When the time is right, I'll bring him to meet you. My rejection of Chinfeng and Jing Shizhe quickly spread throughout Southern County. In the shop, some women whispered to each other. The Chin family is so wealthy, and Jing Shizhe is a martial arts provincial graduate. I heard he has several relatives with high military ranks. With such family backgrounds, who does she want to marry? Marry who? Of course, she still wants to marry our Zhou Munan. Zhou Munan's mother walked in with her arm linked with his, looking proud. His mother was full of indignation, while Zhou Munan was full of joy. "You're wrong," my mother agreed. "The annulment doesn't count. Once I pass the imperial exam, I'll marry you." Zhou Munan's mother rolled her eyes and rummaged through the silk on the shelves with both hands. "I was determined not to want a merchant's daughter like you. But hearing the neighbors talk these days, both the Chen and Jing families are fighting over you. Which means you have some merit and can barely match my son. When my son passes the imperial exam, many officials will be eager to marry him. With his character, even any minister or secretary's daughters would admire him. Song Yurong, you should know how much he gave up for you." The shop's customers whispered. She was annulled by Zhou and still choose to marry him? Chen and Jing are both much better than Zhou Munan. This Miss Song is really stubborn. Zhou Munan's mother glared. "What nonsense are you talking about? If they're so much better than my son, why doesn't Song Yurong marry them? My son is truly capable. No matter how good anyone else is, they can't compare to my son." "Yurong, don't you agree?" "Nonsense." I directly splashed a cup of tea at her feet. "How can someone come to my shop early in the morning to cause trouble? It's really unlucky. Madam, I've made it clear to Zhou Munan. After the annulment, we are separate, and I absolutely won't marry him again. As for Chinfeng and Jing Shizhe, both are extremely good, much better than your son. I don't marry them because we are not destined. Not because I'm thinking of your son." Zhou Munan's mother was so angry she was jumping up and down. "Munan, look at this little tramp, she's gone too far, daring to treat me like this." Zhou Munan frowned unhappily. "Song Yurong, I barely managed to persuade my mother, why do you have to argue with her again? If you apologize to her, our engagement can still stand." I picked up the abacus from the counter and threw it at him. "Can't you understand human language? I don't fancy you, there's absolutely no chance I'll marry you, get out." Zhou Munan stepped back awkwardly. "Why do you have to say such angry words? If you haven't agreed to them, isn't it because you're waiting for me to come back?" A few female customers widened their eyes, crowding together to watch the drama. One said, "It doesn't seem like angry words, Miss Song has ambition, she won't go back to him." The other two retorted, "How could that be, if she really had no feelings for Zhou Munan? Then why hasn't she married Chinfeng or Jing Shizhe? Such good men, Miss Song is already 21 this year. Once this opportunity is gone, it's gone forever. Does she have a better choice?" "Bah!" Zhou Munan's mother spat fiercely. "Just because she's a merchant's daughter, marrying my son is already a stroke of luck. What better choice could she have, refusing this one and that one? Does she want to marry Xia Jinan?" In Southern County, Xia Jinan is synonymous with daydreaming. His family background is superior, his looks and talents impeccable. When city girls are looking at marriage prospects, if a girl is picky and doesn't find a match after several attempts, her mother would scold her, saying, "This one isn't good, that one isn't suitable, do you want to marry Xia Jinan? Stop dreaming, would he even fancy our family?" But this time, just as Zhou Munan's mother finished speaking, Xia Jinan stepped in from the doorway. "Who's calling me?" Seeing him, my lips involuntarily curved into a smile. "Jinan." Zhou Munan's mother made exaggerated expressions. "Oh my, calling him Jinan? I think it's not me who's crazy, it's you being lovesick here early in the morning. What's young Master Xia's status? Does he even know you? Can you call him Jinan?" "Mr. Xia, let me tell you, this song." Zhou Munan's mother squeezed next to Xia Jinan, but was pushed aside by his servant. Xia Jinan seemed not to see her, walked to my side, and naturally took my hand. "Rong Rong, what do you want for lunch? Celestial Restaurant has a new chef from the Northwest, would you like to try it?" My smile deepened, how coincidental, yesterday while chatting. I mentioned my childhood memories of the Northwest, casually saying I missed the food there. And today, Celestial Restaurant has a Northwest chef. It must be Xie Xinan who invited him. Through these days of interaction, I've long realized he's completely different from Zhou Munan. Zhou Munan makes a big fuss over doing small things for you. Acting like he's doing you a favor, wanting you to remember it. He often talks about how good he is to you. How he exchanged books for a hairpin for you last time. How he stayed up several nights to hand-draw paintings last year. Xie Xinan, on the other hand, is entirely different. Clearly spending effort and thought to prepare. Yet remains calm and never brings it up, never making me feel guilty. Lulu, watch the shop, I'm going out with Mr. Xie. Lulu came out of the storeroom holding several rolls of cloth. And seeing me and Xie Xinan holding hands, she was shocked and wide-eyed. Oh, all right, miss, you go ahead, the shop is in good hands. Nearby, a regular customer asked Lulu in surprise, is your miss with Mr. Xie now? Zhou Munan's mother, her old face flushed red, hastily denied. Bah, impossible, absolutely impossible. With the Xie family's status, would they fancy her Song Yurong? It's definitely just for fun. Son, you see, this fickle little tramp, no status or title, following Xie Xinan, do you still want to marry her? Zhou Munan's mother's mouth seemed to have some special magic today. Every time she spoke, she was proven wrong. After a while, my servant rushed into the shop, face flushed, one hand on his waist, panting heavily. Miss, you must go home quickly. The Xie family has come to propose, Master Xie and Madame Xie have come personally. They've even invited the governor's wife as a matchmaker. Xie Xinan was taken aback, smiled wryly. I just advised them yesterday to take it slow, why are they in such a hurry? Rong, I'm afraid we can't have that meal, let me take you home first. The shop's customers were in an uproar. One after another, they exclaimed in surprise. One said Miss Song is so fortunate, she can marry into the Xie family. Another said they're a perfect match, I knew from the start that with Miss Song's looks and talents. Her future would be extraordinary, those poor and weak families can't sustain her. Saying this, they kept glancing at Zhou Munan and his mother. Zhou Munan's mother's face turned purple, trembling with anger. What Xie family, the goods are Zhou family rejected, he still fancies, what noble family. Zhou Munan's face was pale, his eyes fixed on our clasped hands, terrified to the extreme. Song Yurong. Zhou Munan's lips trembled, he took a step forward, his eyes quickly reddening. I take back what I said earlier. I'll marry you right now, don't go with Xie Xinan. Zhou Munan's mother went to pull his arm. Son, we don't want such goods, who knows if she's still. Mother! Zhou Munan shouted hysterically, scaring his mother into trembling. That's Xie Xinan. Song Yurong will really leave me. Do you want to drive me to death? If you say one more word, I'll go hang myself immediately. Zhou Munan begged me, tears streaming down his face. Song Yurong, I was wrong. I didn't want to break off the engagement with you. That day, it was my mother who made the decision on her own. When I got home, she told me about it. I wanted to make amends, but she threatened me with her life and said many things. I lost my mind for a moment. I never thought about leaving you. Don't go, don't abandon me. I won't listen to my mother anymore. You said that wherever I passed the exams, you would open a branch of the cloth store there. Next spring, you're supposed to accompany me to the capital. Zhou Munan slowly knelt down, tightly holding onto the hem of my skirt. Yurong, Song Yurong, don't leave me. I really can't live without you. Zhou Munan's mother rushed over. Son, a man's knees are worth gold, how can you kneel to a woman? Get away, it's all your fault, you misled me, you deceived me, how could I believe your lies? Song Yurong, forgive me, I beg you. The onlookers sighed. If only he knew this would happen, why did he act that way before? That Madame Zhou has always been so snobbish. Exactly, Miss Song is both beautiful and virtuous, I don't know what they were dissatisfied with. Zhou Munan is crying now, but what's the use of crying? If it were me, even if my husband cried enough to fill East Lake, I'd still marry Xie Xinan. Amidst the crowd's discussions, I coldly lifted my skirt and shook off Zhou Munan's hand. Let's go, Jinan. Zhou Munan fell to the ground, his mother slapped her thigh and continued to scold. But Xie Jinan suddenly turned around, his eyes sharp as knives, full of anger. If I hear you speak ill of my wife again, there might not be a place for you in Southern County. Zhou Munan's mother was frightened, swallowing all the words she was about to say. Zhou Munan lay on the ground, eyes bloodshot, watching helplessly as I walked away hand in hand with Xie Jinan. I don't know what method Xie Jinan used, but since that day, I haven't seen Zhou Munan again. Only on the day of my wedding did I receive an anonymous gift. It was half as tall as a person, packed in a large wooden box. I struggled to open it, only to find it was a clay sculpture. A deep alley covered in snow, with lanterns hanging at the entrance. In the snow, there were 2 sets of footprints, one large and one small. A young man walked ahead, with a silly, happy smile on his face. Followed half a step behind by a girl in a light purple jacket. The girl lowered her head, shy and bashful, like a lilac blossom. The figures were vividly portrayed, and I was entranced. Suddenly, Xie Jinan stumbled over. With a gentle nudge of his elbow, the clay sculpture fell to the ground and shattered. Xie Jinan pressed his hand to his temple, frowning. "Ah, I drank too much, my head hurts. Rong, I'm really sorry, what did I break?" "I'll replace it with one made of gold." I stared at him, making him gradually uncomfortable. Then finally let out a laugh, and went over to help him press his temple. "It's nothing important. How about you replace it with a gold lotus flower? That's my favorite." Xie Jinan held my fingers, pulling me into his embrace, lowering his head close to my lips. "All right." The candlelight flickered, the red curtains fluttered. Extra, Xie Jinan's perspective. The speeding carriage suddenly stopped halfway. And the driver said there seemed to be a madam who had been hit ahead on the road. I got off the carriage with an umbrella. Today, it was pouring rain, and there were few pedestrians on the street. Sure enough, there was a woman lying on the side of the road. And a young man standing beside her, his face pale, looking as if he'd been scared silly. I asked him, "Is this your family member?" The young man was taken aback and shook his head vigorously, speaking incoherently. "No. It wasn't me who hit her. It was a carriage that hit her and then ran away. Do you recognize this woman?" The young man hesitated and nodded. "I recognize her. She runs the cloth store on the street, Madame Song." I took a silver ingot from my pocket. "Please, go and inform her family to come to the Peace Clinic on the front street." The young man's face turned bright red. "I'll take care of informing her family myself, I don't need your silver." With that, he waved his hand and dashed into the rain. I watched him run swiftly for a while, then bent down and carried Madame Song onto the carriage. Dr. Chen treated her, and Madame Song's family soon arrived. It was a young girl, drenched like a soaked chicken, her big eyes filled with tears, like a little deer in the forest. She hugged Madame Song and cried, her round eyes and round mouth. Cute and pitiful, she inexplicably made people feel tender-hearted. I recognized her at once. She was the young girl by the East Lake that day. She had grown up, blossoming like a graceful lotus flower. My gaze shifted to the doorway, where fine lines of rain were falling under the eaves. The scenery of the capital truly couldn't compare to the Southern County. After settling in at the academy and visiting friends and acquaintances in Southern County, I finally found out that her name was Song Yurong. She was indeed like her name, a graceful lotus. But regrettably, she was already betrothed. And her fiancé was Zhou Munan, the silly goose who was scared on the roadside that day. Every evening, after the shop closed, Zhou Munan would follow her and escort her home. Song Yurong was young but incredibly beautiful, often attracting scoundrels who would block her in dark alleys with ill intentions. I had already sent people to deal with them early on. Only once, a man had just been released from prison and was quite skilled in martial arts. Both of my guards were injured. Fortunately, I had learned some martial arts in the capital and managed to subdue him after taking a stab wound. The walls and ground were covered in blood, and I leaned on my knife wound, ordering people to bring water to clean the ground. "Hurry up, if she sees it later, she'll be scared." The guard finally couldn't hold back and complained to me. "Aren't we just toiling for others' benefit? Master, with your skills, you could easily get rid of Zhou Munan with a little trick. Why bother like this? He said, cautiously observing my expression. This is too humble. Humble? I never thought this word would be associated with me, Xiaoxinan. But he was right. When facing Song Yurong, I was indeed hesitant and unsure. That night, after simply bandaging the wound, I watched Zhou Munan escort Song Yurong to the door, and the two bid farewell reluctantly. Song Yurong lowered her head and smiled lightly. Her profile under the lamp was stunningly beautiful. I was truly moved. Maybe I should just take her away. If I passed the provincial exam this year and entered the capital next spring, I might never return to Southern County. So I feigned illness during the examination, continuing to hold the scholar title, deliberately getting close to Zhou Munan, and with a few words, stirred up the hidden dark thoughts in his heart. That was their first argument. She cried sadly. I don't have a good family background, can't compare to this lady or that girl. If you dislike me, let's call off the engagement. Tears fell one by one, hitting my heart like a boulder. Why does it hurt me? In the end, I was soft-hearted, unwilling to let her cry. Maybe I should just let it go. I spent several nights convincing myself to let go. What were Chen Feng and Jing Shizhe doing during the spring outing at Mount? A peacock spreading its tail, dancing in front of me, was simply outrageous. So many people were thinking about her, how could I let go? Lotus flowers have no thorns. It's my palm that has thorns. To pick this flower, I would inevitably hurt her. I hesitated, my heart felt like it was frying in a pan. Torn between the desire to possess her and the tenderness to cherish her, struggling day by day. Zhou Munan is truly a fool. A bit of success made him arrogant. And the shortcuts taken by his classmates made him so jealous that his eyes turned red. Coupled with such a worldly and harsh mother, it really is heaven's help for me. He actually took the initiative to propose breaking off the engagement. That day, I was so happy that I got drunk and gave rewards to all the servants in the house. I collapsed by the lotus pond. Song Yurong. I kept repeating this name, and my father leaned in to listen. What is he shouting? Did you hear it clearly? My mother focused and frowned, then suddenly rejoiced. It seems to be a girl's name. My father was ecstatic. That's great, it's a girl, my son doesn't like men, our CF family won't be extinct. Ancestors bless us. My mother said, yes, it's been so many years without even a maid to accompany him, I was terrified. Quickly go and inquire, in this city, which girl has the surname Song and is named Rong. Annoyed, I turned over and fell into a deep sleep. 3 years later. After Xiaoxinan ranked third in the imperial examination, he stayed in the capital and entered the Hanlin Academy. The two of us lived in the capital and hadn't returned to Southern County for a long time. After Chen Feng passed the provincial examination, he spent money to become a 9th-rank civil official in the capital. Jing Shizhe was appointed as a captain in the 5-city military department. And the two often came to find Xiaoxinan for drinks. That day, I had just argued with Xiaoxinan and was sitting alone on a stone bench sulking. Chen Feng asked, had a fight? What did Xiaoxinan do? I asked him to bring hibiscus cakes, but he brought me peach blossom pastries. Xiaoxinan smiled bitterly. I clearly remember buying hibiscus cakes, maybe I took the wrong ones. Jing Shizhe slammed the table. How ridiculous, you clearly didn't take Song Yurong's words to heart. Today you brought the wrong pastries, tomorrow will you bring the wrong woman? Chen Feng said, exactly, this means he doesn't love you anymore. Divorce him, he said, pulling out pen, ink, paper, and inkstone from his pocket. I'll write the divorce paper for you right now. Jing Shizhe nodded, the capital's office isn't far, I'll run over to deliver it in a bit. Xiaoxinan gritted his teeth. All of you get out. Before you two get married, don't come to my house again. During the new year, we returned to Southern County for a visit. The governor of Southern County warmly hosted a banquet, and during the feast, someone unexpectedly came to visit. The governor impatiently explained to us that the visitor was a provincial graduate. And according to court laws, provincial graduates could become officials. But they needed to register with the ministry and take the exam to be appointed as an assistant magistrate. The person had passed the exam. But currently, there were no vacant positions in Southern County, so he could only wait. He comes to urge every day. There's only one spot for each person. I can't dismiss someone else's position for him. The governor's words made me understand that the price offered by the other party wasn't enough. With so many people in line, whoever offered more money would get their turn first. This person was probably too stubborn to understand the underlying principle. During the banquet, someone casually asked his name. The governor said, "His name is Zhou Munan. Speaking of which, he's also from White Deer Academy and was once a classmate of Lord Xia. I wonder if Lord Xia recognizes him?" Xia Jinan didn't say anything, but turned to hold my hand. I shook my head. No. After the banquet, as we exited the government office, we saw a person standing under the eaves at the entrance. Zhou Munan walked forward a few steps in surprise. "Governor, I." Our eyes met, and he seemed struck by lightning, frozen in place. The governor politely saw us off, then immediately turned back inside, urging the gatekeeper to drive the person away. I gave him a faint smile. "Zhou Munan, long time no see." Zhou Munan's eyes reddened, and he silently tugged at the corner of his mouth. He hurriedly turned around, stumbled forward, and turned into an alley. The clouds gathered, and heavy snow fell like cotton. A long trail of footprints was left in the alley. But this time, there was only one person's.